Hey guys, this is Balu and today in this tutorial I will show how you can create this kind of CGI ads using VFX in Blender easily. So hope you guys will find the video useful, and without any further delay, let's start today's video. So here I am using this FSPY application which is free to download to get the camera perspective, and also I am using Geo Tracker for tracking purpose. So now let's start tutorial. So here in FSPY application we need to have image. So here let me show you the footage. So I am using this footage which I got from Pexels. I will leave a link in the description if you want to use the same. So here I will be moving to the starting frame. If you are using VLC player, go to this video and take snapshot, or else you can use any software to get single frame. So after that we need to load that image into the FSPY application. So let me load that. So here I got that image. So simply drag and drop it into this FSPY application. So now we need to match it accordingly. So I will place this yellow axis here. Hold shift key to zoom in. So let it be here and let this axis be. I think this is the line. Okay. So now let's place this. So let's select this one. So let it be here. Now let's drag this, hold shift key and let's place this here. So y-axis is set. Now let's align x-axis. So for x-axis I will use this line, hold shift key, let it be here, and this line is, I think this is good, and for this line I think I will use this. So let it place it here and let's place this here. Okay, so now if I place this cursor, you can see we are getting the correct perspective. Now come to this 3D grid and let's enable XY grid floor. Okay, so now we need to save this file. So go to this file option, save. So here I will save this location, so 7777, and save. So now we got this camera perspective. Now we need to load this into Blender, import this into Blender. So here I'm using 4.3 version. So let's clear this default scene by pressing A on the keyboard and delete. Now let's import that data, FSPY data. So go to this file, import, select this FSPY data. And by the way, if you're not getting this, there are a lot more tutorials on how to install this FSPY application. Follow those tutorials and later you can start this. So click on this FSPY and look at the file. So this is the file 7777 and import. So here you can see we got our image. So now let's select this camera, come to this camera options, expand this background images. So since we are using movie clip, let's change this to movie clip and load our footage once again. So open and load the footage. So this is the footage and open clip. So video is loaded. Now scroll down and expand this opacity option. Okay, so here we got our footage. So now let's add plane here. So go to this add mesh, select a plane here. So let the plane be like that only. So now let's track the footage. Now press N on the keyboard, come to this Geo Tracker, click on this create new Geo Tracker, and here we need to load the clip once again. So open the clip. So this is the footage, load the clip, and you will get this analyze option. Here I am getting reanalyze because I have analyzed the footage already. You will get analyze option, simply click on that analyze option, and frames I will change this to 250 frames and okay, and nice. So you can see it is tracking our footage, analyzing our footage. So here this analyzing is done. Now let's change to this camera option. Here we are not tracking geometry, we are tracking camera. So change this to camera option, click on the start pin mode. After that simply click on this track to end option. So here you can see the tracking is started now. So tracking is done. Let's change this end frame to 250. Okay, so let's bring the frame here. So now you can see we got the keyframes right, and after that simply click on this exit pin mode. So now if I play this, you can see the track solid is, or the track plane is following the camera movement. Okay, so now let's model this subway roughly. So come to the starting frame here, select this track solid, press tab key for edit mode, or else you can change this to edit mode from here. Change this to edge selection. Let's select this edge here, expand in y-axis so that it is out of the frame. Now select this y, or else let's check this, select this edge here, press E to extrude Z and extrude in Z axis. Let it be like this. Now you can press E, X and extrude in this way till this frame. Now let's select this one, press E, Z and let's bring it above. Now E, X and place this here. So I think we need to move this base below. So let's change this face selection and bring it down here. Press 0 to see through camera. So yeah, I think this much will be fine. So now let's select these edges here. So let's change this to edge selection, select this edge, and also this edge here. So now let's bring it here. Now let's select these edges, and drag it. Okay, press 0 to see through camera. So now we need to add our 3D object here. So here I will be using this Blender kit which is free to download. So here I will search as shoe, and yeah, we got this selection. So from here I think I will select the shoe here. So simply click on the image, it will be loaded onto the screen. So here you can see we got the image, we got the model. So let's select this empty, press S and increase the scaling, and let's rotate it here like -90, and also let's place this. So let's push this wall side bit. So change this to edit mode, select this face, and move it here. Now again change this to object mode. Now select this empty, let's increase the scaling, and I think this much is fine. Press 0 to see through camera, and yeah, so I think this is okay. So now let's select this object here, go to this modifier options, add modifier, add array modifier here, and change this x to -1 or else -1.5, so that we should have some distance, or else -1.2. Yeah, I think this much is fine, -1.1, and let's increase the count here. So yeah, this much of count is enough. Yeah, so now let's animate this empty. So be on the first frame, so come to starting frame here, select this empty, place the shoe model here, press I on the keyboard to add keyframe. So here we got keyframe added for rotation and location, everything. So now come to this 2/10th frame, and let's bring GY, and let's bring our shoe model, let's see through camera, GY. So let's pass few shoes here. Yeah, let it be here like this. Now press I on the keyboard to add a keyframe. So now if I play this, we will have this animation. So here you can see we are getting those models. Or else let's do one thing, let's bring this forward a bit. We don't want this to be too far. Press I to add keyframe once again, and now if I play this, so first of all let's save the project, Ctrl S. So now let's move on to this render viewport here. So here the scene is looking dark because there is no light in the scene. So here I will be using HDRIs from Polyheaven. So come to this world properties, so click on this color yellow dot and select this environment texture here. So from here I think I will use this Metro HDRI. So simply come to this Polyheaven, such as subway, select this one and download. So it will be downloaded. So after that we can load that one. So come to this open, and it is in downloads. So here you can see we got that HDR, so select it and open image. So now we got some light in the scene, so we need to make it transparent. So come to this render properties, scroll down, come to this film option and enable transparency. So now select this solid here, solid plane, come to this material properties, add new material, and surface change it to hold out. So now you can see we got our footage, and I think we need to adjust this. So this is bit extruded. So select the plane here, you can see plane is selected, press tab key for edit mode, or else you can change it from here. Change this to edge selection, select this edge, and let's bring it here so that it matches with this line. So now this is okay. So now you can see we got our scene ready, and now we need to have this light falling on the shoe model. So for that let's add area light. So shift A, or else you can again go to this add light, select this area light. So we got this area light here. So let's place this here, let's move it. So where is this area light? Okay, let's bring it at the front, press 0 to see through camera, GY, and let's place this as X and reduce this GX, and let's place this here, and also let's rotate this towards, so like this. And now change this power to 5000. No, it is too high. This is 25. So this is before after. So I think this is fine. Now select this area light. Select this area light, Shift D, Y, and let's place this randomly at this position. Shift D once again, and let's place this. So I think 3 area lights are fine. Okay, so now this is looking good. So now let's see how we can get the reflections. So for reflections, I will be using the same plane. So select the plane here. Let's press tab key or else change this to edit mode. Let's select this face here. Shift D to duplicate it. Now press P, separate by selection. Now come to this material options. Click on this material option, or else first let's change this to edit mode. Select this plane. Delete this number to unlink the material from other plane. So now press tab key once again, select this edge. Let's change this to HL, select this edge. Let's bring this edge onto this place. So I think this much is fine. Now press tab key or else change this to object mode. So now come to this material options. Let's delete the hold out material and add new material. Now let's bring it just above to the plane. So yeah, I think this much is fine. Let's make it full metallic and reduce the roughness. So now if I bring our models here, you can see we are getting the reflections here. So if I still reduce, we will get the reflections more. So now you can see we got reflections also. So first we will be rendering only the objects. Later we will render these objects with reflection, and we will use Adobe After Effects to do the compositing. Because in Blender I didn't find any proper solution to get the reflections at a time, like shadow catcher and all. So I will be using this method. So first of all, I will render this without this plane. So hide this in viewport and also in render. Okay, so make sure to uncheck this one. Now come to this render properties. So here I will be using EEVEE. So let it be EEVEE, and rest and all I will like this. So let's change this ray tracing to ambient occlusion, and let's see how it looks. I think there is no much difference, so let it be illumination only. So now come to this output properties. Before to that, come to this color management, change this to standard, and also let's add bit contrast here. So let's add medium contrast in the scene. I think it's not difference. Okay, let's add medium high contrast. And now come to this output properties. So by default resolution is vertical format. I will leave like that only. And render region, crop to render region. Frame rate, here we need to match with the footage frame rate. The footage frame rate is of 25 frames, so I will change this to 25, and frame start and end 1 to 250 is fine. So now here we need to select a location to save the files. So quickly I will select location. So here I have saved the location, and file format, it should be PNG. Make sure RGB is selected to get the alpha channel. So once this is done, we can render. So go to this render and click on this render animation. So here you can see we are getting only the objects visible here. We are not getting the video visible in render.
1 hour later.
So here the render is done. So let me show you the PNG sequence. So here you can see we got this PNG sequence, right? So this is without reflections. So now we need to get another render with reflections. So that is with this reflection plane on. So here you can see we got the reflections, right? So let's select the plane here. So I will make this completely. Now we need to render this with reflections. Later we will use editing software like After Effects to do the compositing. So let's render this out. So again, let's come to this output properties. Here I will change the location now. So here I will create a new folder with reflections, and okay, so let it be PNG RGB. Now let's render this once again.
1 hour later.
So here this render is also finished, and I will show you this PNG sequence. You can see we got this PNG sequence. So if you open this, so here you can see we got the shoe model and also the reflections here. Okay, so now let's open After Effects and let's do that compositing. So here we are in After Effects and I have loaded the footage. So now let's import that PNG sequences. So right click, import, select file. So here we got the reflection sequence. So select it, make sure PNG sequence is enabled and import. So now we got this comp, so let's rename this as reflection. So ref, and let's import another sequence. So right click, import file. So here I got the sequence, so select the first clip and import. So let's rename this as, so come to this footage options. So let's close this one. So here the footage frame rate is, let me show you. So if I see here, you can see the footage frame rate is 25, whereas the sequence what we have imported, it is 30 fps. So first we need to fix this issue, or else our tracking won't be looking good. So in order to do that, come to this edit, preferences. Before importing that sequences, first we need to do this thing. So come to this preferences, general. So now come to this import options. So here you can see by default sequence footage is set to 30 fps. So this means whichever sequence we import, either it is 20 fps, 30 fps, 60 fps, it will be imported to 30 fps only. So currently we need footage fps, right? So footage fps is 25, so I will change this to 25 and okay. So now again I will import these sequences. So I will delete these sequences and all once again. So we got rid of these sequences. Now let's import once again. So import sequence. So now select this first one, import, and now you can see the sequence is of 25 frames only. So let's rename this comp as only shoe, and now let's import that reflection sequence. So right click, import file. So this is the reflection thing, import. So now right click and I'll rename this as reflect. Okay. So now let's close this. Let's come to this footage. So now let's drag and drop our sequences here. So first I will drag and drop this reflect sequence onto this, and now again select this only shoe and drop it here. So now we got these both sequences with reflection and without reflection. Okay. So let's select this, press 0 to come to the end frame, press N, right click, trim, come to work area. So now we got both the sequences. So here we want only this reflection. So let's disable this only shoe layer and let's select this reflection layer. So here we don't want this shoe to be visible, we want only reflections. So in order to do that, let's enable this one, select this only shoe model, Ctrl D to duplicate it. Now select this reflection one, bring it here, let's hide this. Let's see what will happen. Now select this reflect one, come to this mode options. If you're not finding these mode options, click on this toggle switches, you will get that. Now change this to difference. So now you can see we got the reflections and rest thing is set to black, and if we enable this above one, it is looking good. So now let's select this reflect and add blur. So control, so here I will be using FX console. So control space bar and look for Gaussian blur. Select this. Blurriness I will increase this to 35. I think this is fine. And opacity, press T for opacity. Here opacity I will reduce this to 25. So I think this is okay. So now you can see we got our sequence ready and this is looking good. And by any chance this character is coming in front of these objects, here I have reduced the object counts. For example, if the count is more, these models will be visible onto the character. So in that cases we need to roto the character. So I will show you how to do that also. So here we need to roto this object, we need to roto this one. So here you can see the sequence is above to this footage, right? So let's select the footage. Let's see from which frame this person is interfering. So I think, yeah, from this frame, right? So let's duplicate this one, let's trim it out. So till how many frames? Okay, till here. So we need to rotate this one. So press I to come to the starting frame. Let's save the project once again. Now select this roto brush tool here, double click on this layer and come to this view options, resolution, change it to full, and let's select the character here. Simply draw on the character, it will be selected. If you want to deselect anything, hold shift key, the circle turns to red, and let's deselect this one. And here I don't bother about this portion, only this portion is interfering, right? So I need to have this portion perfectly. So once it is selected, press space bar, so it will rotate the layers. So pause it in between. Again, simply draw brush to extend this roto area. Again, press space bar. So here we got this roto done. After that, we need to freeze this one. So simply click on this freeze option. So here our roto is done. Now let's come to this composition footage. Now select this roto layer and place it above to this layers. So now if I move forward, you can see our character is coming in front. If you want to add feather to this roto, just add some feather here. So feather will be added. So now let's do color correction. So I will select this only shoe layer which doesn't have reflections, right? So I am selecting that layer. So control space bar to get this FX console, and I will look for curves, apply curves here. I will reduce this. So let's bring it up front. So I will reduce this a bit. So yeah, I think this is fine. So I will look for brightness and contrast. So select this one. So I will increase the brightness to 3 and let's increase the brightness to 10, and I will increase the contrast to 35. Okay, so I think this is looking good. So now we got our sequence ready. So do color correction so that the CGI elements will match to the footage, and in this way we can create this CGI ads in Blender using VFX easily. So hope you guys have learned something new from this tutorial. If you have learned anything new, please like, share and subscribe my channel to support me. So I'll meet in the next video. Until then, signing off. Take care. Bye.